What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the first edition of Lunch with the Clydesdale. Um, Still working on some kinks out and things like that, but just wanted to have like a little place to come in each day. We'll probably ramp up to daily after the first of the year, with the holidays here and my wife having surgery soon. It'll probably take a couple weeks to get us to where we're doing this as a daily show. But I just wanted to come on, and anybody from our crew can hop in at any time to check out what's going on and have a conversation about things going on just in life. So what's up, Kenneth? So this is the first one that we're doing this way. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate that, and leave any comments to help out the algorithm. That would be awesome. But what I'm going to do first is, last night on Sunday Night CrossFit Talk, we talked a lot about the World Fitness Project and their release of things. And I just wanted to kind of recap my thoughts about that moving forward. So I'm super excited. I said last night, I'm super excited that someone has put together what appears to be the semblance of a season that makes sense for people to follow. You go to events, you earn points. The top 20 at the end of the year earn their pro card, and then they get to participate the following year as a contracted pro athlete, and they get to skip some of the steps to get to the major events because they've earned that pro card. That is a model that has worked in auto racing, that has worked in golf, that has worked in tennis for years and years and years. There are a lot of details that still need to be put out there for us to have full commitment on what this is going to be and whether it's going to be effective. But yeah, I think it's going to be something that's going to be pretty awesome. And if anything, I don't think that it's, maybe it will, but I don't think it will take over what the CrossFit Games season is. I'm hoping that it pushes the people who run the CrossFit Games season to think outside the box, to push into a season that makes sense. So what's up, Holly? That's what I'm really hoping for, is that you have these two entities that are both existing, and it pushes each other to be more innovative, more creative, and streamline into a system that isn't changed every year and actually makes sense for the consumer to follow. And then if it becomes more, makes more sense for the consumer to follow, then you gain more fans, and then your fans become a revenue source instead of just relying on sponsors and participants paying entry fees into the system. So I really, really am behind the WFP, and I can't wait to see what's coming out, because I do think it's going to make a lot of sense in the future for them to do it. I think the first year is going to be very small, and it's going to be a proof of concept. Holly says that sounds logical, and she's correct. It does. But maybe, just maybe, we're to a point where logic has to take over, and we do it for the right reasons, and not because we just want to try something different or because of economic reasons. I think the plan that the WFP has put out is viable and sustainable in a way, if you can get partners to come along for the ride. So ACR, what's going on? She says, what am I eating for lunch? I have not made that determination yet. I'll probably grab lunch and eat at my desk right after this is done. It'll probably be some leftovers, so I'm thinking maybe some chicken and a vegetable that I can find in the fridge. So yeah, something like that. So yeah, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on the WFP. I think that this pro card idea is a huge incentive for the athletes to get into that top 20 and to be guaranteed money for the season. That's a game changer for them. I think it's a logical step to get partners to come along for the ride, to invest in this in a way that's different than what they've had as options before, because you can then sponsor athletes. You can sponsor a pro card athlete knowing that they're a pro card athlete for the year. You can sponsor events that are taking place. You can sponsor the online thing. And then I do think that they do need to stream these events to make it very interesting and compelling for the consumer. They really get the consumer involved for all that. So, what's up, Jay Birch? So yeah, those are my thoughts on the WFP. I think it is something that we needed in this space. We needed pushed. CrossFit needs pushed into a direction that makes sense. And I'm hoping that that is what happens, that both entities really push themselves to get outside the box, be creative, and make something that works. And then ideally, just like Live Golf and PGA Golf come together in the end, and have a very sustainable CrossFit Games season that makes sense for everybody and pull all resources together. That would be awesome. Hopefully that is in the cards. If not, one's going to win out over the other, I'm sure, because we are not big enough at this point to sustain two separate seasons. Because I do think that if WFP is going to be successful, it's going to have to expand after this first year. It's not going to be just 3 events. Then you can do both. It's going to have to expand out where there's more opportunities to earn points around the world. Because right now, like because you only have 2 tour events before the finals, and you put one in the US and one in Europe, that means Australian athletes will have to travel. That means South American athletes will have to travel. So I do believe that at some point it needs to expand to give opportunities to earn points in different parts around the world so everybody can play. In this first year, that's going to be very limited with just 2 tour stops in that initial year. But I think it's a great, again, proof of concept. And there are still more details that we need to see. So I am reluctantly optimistic with this, but I'm excited to see what's next because it seems like this has been very well thought out, and super excited to see what they bring to the table. Again, last night on Sunday Night CrossFit Talk, Carolyn and Jamie and I talked about this at length. If you want to hear more thoughts and ideas about it, make sure you go back and check that out on the Sunday Night CrossFit Talk. There's a lot more back and forth there. And they have the athlete perspective. I have the consumer media perspective. And so I think mine's a little bit different where they are trying to put themselves in the shoes of the athletes and looking at affordability as a challenger, viability as a challenger to get that pro card, things like that I am probably not thinking as deeply about as they are. So they really bring a different perspective to that. So the other thing that I was going to talk about today, and again, this show is not going to be a CrossFit show. These daily shows are just going to be whatever's on my mind and just some different things that I found interesting. Hopefully you will too. But I talked last night that one of the things I'm going to discuss today is my wife and I, it's been snowing here in Ohio. We actually got a warm up today, but we've been watching some Christmas movies on Netflix. And I was going to give my rating of the Netflix movies, Christmas movies that I've watched from this year. And it seems like Netflix keeps building on how many Christmas movies they bring out every year. I will say my favorite Netflix Christmas movies have been Love Hard and Holiday. Those are both great movies. Both I would give an A+ to. None of this year's lineup met the expectations that those two have set. I think Love Hard has become a classic for me and something that I will probably watch every year. If you have never seen it, it is an online dating kind of mishap Christmas movie where one of them believes that Die Hard is the greatest Christmas movie ever. The other one believes Love Actually is the greatest Christmas movie ever. And that's why you get the name Love Hard. But it is the typical like miscommunication, miss thing, and then antics ensue and blah blah blah. But it is definitely a classic that you should check out. But this year, they've offered a handful of movies, and the first one that I watched was Hot Frosty. That is a movie about a snowman that comes to life, and a widow meets up with him as he has come to life, and the town local authorities are trying to arrest him because when he came to life, he had no clothes on. Therefore, he was streaking through the square and wants to arrest the snowman for this. Now, it was a sculpted snowman. It was not your typical um, ball on top of balls. And this was a sculpted snowman. So this guy was a very chiseled body running around the square naked with very creative ways of covering the indecent parts for a family-friendly Netflix show. But I really enjoyed this one. It deals with a snowman needing to stay cold, that going inside is hard for him, so they have to deal with those things, but he looks like a human at the point he becomes alive. So it's a lot of that kind of back and forth stuff. Very good. I give that one an A-. It actually has Lacey Chabert. I always say Chabert to my mom just to drive her nuts, but it's Lacey Chabert. Lacey Chabert, that's what it is. She is the star of it. She was in Party of Five as a kid. She was in Mean Girls. And then she became like the darling of the Hallmark movie channel, where she has starred in like 30 different movies for Hallmark. But this one I think is a step up from the Hallmark movies, much better produced, things like that. The next one I'm going to get into is Our Little Secret, which is the Lindsay Lohan holiday movie of the year. She did one last year where she has amnesia falling off a mountain. This year, this one is that she and her boyfriend break up. They go their separate ways. 10 years later, they're invited to a family get together for the holidays. And they are dating siblings from this family and end up running into each other at this new holiday event. It was a pretty good movie. I would say just kind of right down the middle, I'd give it a C+ for that one. Lindsay Lohan, just in my opinion, does not have the acting chops yet back, whatever, to get into this. It's a nice, cute movie. Nothing that I would, again, doesn't meet that like classic level of something you want to watch year over year. The next one is Meet Me Next Christmas. This one is about a woman who meets a man in an airport, like the Delta Club or something like that. And they're stranded there because of flight delays. They have a nice conversation, but they're both seeing each other, seeing somebody else at the time. And they say, hey, if we aren't seeing these people next year at New Year's, let's meet at a Pentatonics concert, and we will meet there, and it'll be a match. So the entire premise of the movie is that the woman is trying to get a ticket to the Pentatonics show to go meet this guy because her relationship has failed over the year. She's trying to get there, and she hires a ticket agent concierge to help her get that ticket. Pentatonics actually get involved in it as they are watching it through text messages, and this concierge trying to get a free ticket to get her this. It was a very cute movie. If you like Pentatonics, they sing a lot in this movie. They play a big role in it. And I give it a solid B for the year. Definitely worth a watch. Maybe a rewatch movie. It's on that borderline of could it be a rewatch? Could it not be? What kind of helps it for me is my family has gone to see Pentatonics at the holidays. They put on a great show. And you can see parts of that in this movie as the movie ends at their concert. And they are actually putting on some of the the numbers at that point, and you can see the stage sets and different stuff like that. It's pretty cool. I give that a solid B. It was really good. The last one I will review for this year is Merry Gentlemen. This is about a woman who was like a Rockette style performer in New York City. She loses her job basically because of ageism, is kind of the premise, and she has to go return to her family in a small town, and they own a bar nightclub that used to be the happening spot in town, but has kind of dilapidated into um, a place that needs fixing up. And the patrons are kind of your typical bar flies. It's not a really happening place anymore, and they're having a hard time reaching the rent. And the daughter comes back and decides, hey, I want to help my parents, so I'm going to put on a male review Christmas show. So she gets a couple of the guys from the neighborhood to put on a male review. They do that. It's quite successful. But it's a really good movie. I gave it a B plus. It was really enjoyable to watch. The acting was, I thought, much better than some of the others, and the storyline was pretty good. Like most Christmas movies, there's a predictable ending, which is still cool. But they did a really nice job with it. And so I give that one a solid B plus. Again, none of this year's offerings match up to Love Hard or any of those from the past years. Love Hard is just one of my favorites of all time. And I actually just rewatched it this weekend. And it does stand the test of time. You can watch that over and over again, just like your classics like Christmas Vacation, Elf, Love Actually, those like standard Christmas movies that people watch year over year. Love Hard is that. I don't think any of this year's make it completely to that level. There's a couple borderline ones that maybe you'd watch. But I think like it was a good fare this year, but nothing that like hit the grand slam home run like Love Hard did last year or the year before. Holly says Christmas Vacation is too chaotic. My mom is one of four sisters. Every Christmas was chaotic when we grew up, and so maybe it just reminds me of that a lot. Another movie that Netflix brought out a couple years ago is The Feast of the Seven Fishes, and that family chaos is very reminiscent of how I grew up at the holidays. So ACR is not a Christmas Vacation fan. Wow. Are you even American? No, I'm just kidding. No, I get it. I get it. Everybody has different flavors and different tastes. What is your favorite Christmas movie, Miss Ridow? If anybody has a favorite that they think that people should that they think people should check out, throw it in the comments and I'll throw it up here. Holly says, I have 5 siblings. Maybe chaos is too real. And this I get totally, ACR. Way overplayed and overdone. Christmas Vacation is so quoted. When I go to my in-laws' house, they quote that movie every stinking year, every stinking time. It can get too much. And there are years that I do not watch it. I have not watched it this year, to be quite frank. Jay Birch is The Classic Christmas Story. For me, that's just because TBS always played it on Christmas Day. We would just have it running on a loop, basically, at our house on Christmas Day, and like half pay attention to it because you can catch it as it's coming on and coming off. So yeah. And Holly says The Holiday. That's a great one. Love that one a lot. And Our Christmas Story. Yeah, my family does the tradition of every Christmas Eve we watch Love Actually. And then Christmas Story we just kind of run through the day on the day of Christmas. The Holiday is awesome. We watch that one a lot. But I am a huge Kate Winslet fan. So always enjoy watching Kate. ACR, I do like Elf, Grinch, White Christmas, and then some of the Netflix ones. See, the Grinch, the Jim Carrey one, I am not a fan of. Not a fan of. I don't know why. I know a lot of people are, but yeah. I love the original animated Grinch. But yeah. ACR, like Christmas Chronicles, Jingle Jangle. Christmas Chronicles is one of the best movies out there. The first Christmas Chronicles was awesome. That was a huge surprise for me and a big win for Netflix. That is one that I would watch over and over again for sure. But yeah, so those are the Netflix the movies. I will throw in a bonus one. I watched Red One on Friday night. That has already come to Prime Video, and it is a movie about Santa has he's like a ripped Santa. The Rock is his lead elf, and he gets kidnapped, and they have to use this kind of hacker guy, which is Chris Evans, to find Santa. So The Rock and Chris Evans, Captain America, are going to look for Santa. And with that, they run into this witch is the person who has kidnapped Santa, and she has some magic that allows like snowmen to come to life, and they have to fight them on and different things like that. I was so excited about it because I love 80s action movies, and it was so close to getting there. And then it kind of tried to be more than just an action movie, tried to be like a good solid drama, and it fell short for me. I was so disappointed with the way the middle went in that movie. The beginning was awesome, the end was awesome, the middle just blah. And it could have been an awesome Christmas action movie that would have been so fun to watch, just very different than what's out there right now. And it tried to be a little too dramatic in the middle for me. Jay Birch throws in The Family Stone. That's a good one. So that's our Christmas movie talk. The next thing I just on my mind and wanted to talk about is the college transfer portal. We have the college football playoffs coming up this weekend. My Penn State Nittany Lions have made it to the 12-team playoff. Super excited about that. As I was sitting down to do the Sunday night CrossFit show, my phone had an alert that Bo Prabula, who is the backup quarterback for the Penn State Nittany Lions, was entering the transfer portal and foregoing the college football playoffs. And that just set me off. Like, one, Bo Prabula is a prominent player in the Nittany Lions offense. He plays probably 20 to 25% of the snaps because they put both him and the starting quarterback on the field at the same time in a lot of different sets. And he is more of a running quarterback, where Drew Aller, the starter, is a throwing quarterback. And now the Penn State Nittany Lions are without him for the playoffs because of this transfer portal. I get that the new NIL and that college sports as an amateur thing are pretty much a thing of the past. But why are we letting people jump from their teams right before the playoffs? Why can't we wait to open the portal, or the announcements to open the portal, to be after the playoffs are done? I find it ridiculous that teams not only have to combat beating the team they have to play, but now they have to hope that their players stay on the team and don't leave prior to the playoffs starting. They've competed all year. Penn State went 10-1, 11-1, something like that. And and then lost in the Big Ten championship game by a touchdown to Oregon, who is the number one team in the country. So they have a good team, and now they have to go into the playoffs without one of the prominent players on their offense. And I think that sucks. I get it. I get it's a new era and I'm old and I'm the grumpy guy yelling at the clouds on my porch. But doggone it, man. Like I've invested in this team all season long. And now, right before the playoffs, uh, players get ripped off my team because they want to go play somewhere else. And I get it. Drew Aller has announced that he's coming back to Penn State for a senior year. This kid is probably not going to get more playing time as a starter. He wants to go someplace where he can be a starter. That's fine. Just let him do it after the playoffs are over. It really cripples what's going on for teams in that you follow the whole damn season. Like it just sucks. Jay Birch agreed. The schools have committed to them money, time, and resources, and these kids want to shirk their commitment. I agree. Finish the season. When I was raising my daughter and she wanted to try something, I was like, you can try anything you want to, and I will support it. But you are going to finish whatever year, season, whatever that may be. Because you are making a commitment to that, whether it be a band, whether it be a sport, you have committed to that team or that group of people that you will be there to support them until that season is over. We had this battle when she played the viola. She wanted to try it. I said, that is fine. You will just have to finish the concert year, whatever that is. And she fought me on it, but doggone it, you made a commitment to that orchestra that you would be there until the end, and you were going to be there until the end. But it seems like these days in college, man, that commitment means nothing. And it's really frustrating to be a fan of a team that has just missed the college football playoff when it was for so many years, and we finally get in, and now one of our better players is leaving through the transfer portal right as the playoffs start this Saturday. So Jay Birch, you're down there in Texas. Are you an SMU fan? Are you a Texas fan, A&M fan, or none of the above? Because we got SMU in the playoffs in the first round. The last thing I'm going to talk about is Texas and Texas A&M. You can like both. I thought they were rivals. Or is Oklahoma a bigger rival for Texas? Oh, I have attended both schools. There you go. Was one undergrad, one master's, or? I love learning about you guys. I attended like 14 schools on my path to a bachelor's degree, and then stuck at one school for my master's. So couldn't decide what I wanted to be when I grew up. I was on the 15-year plan. But anyway, last thing is Bears are on Monday Night Football tonight. I don't know how to root for my team anymore. They're really bad. They fired their coach. They fired their offensive coordinator. Do I root for them to lose so that I get a better draft pick? Or do I root for them to win so that they can get this losing streak done and actually start in the process of learning how to win games? Oh, wow. Jay Birch has a PhD? Dude, big brain in the house. Wow. So yes, what do I do? Do I want the draft pick, or do I want my team to learn how to start winning? And I think I've kind of like resolved myself to like, I want them to start winning. They need to, didn't finish. Hey, I think you and Holly have something in common. Maybe. Maybe I'm wrong. That's wrong. Somebody else. Somebody else. Maybe it's Holly. I don't know. I've met way too many people. So anyway, um, I've resolved to the fact that I want my team to learn to win. I think that losing is just becoming too uh losing is just becoming a habit, and we need to get rid of that on our team. And I just want them to um I want them to learn get rid of losing in their vocabulary, start winning some games and believing that they can win going into next season. I think that is more important than a high draft pick. Um, Holly says that Jay Birch, it's still awesome though. Dissertations are overrated. And Holly has an EDD, which I think is a doctorate of education. Um, and then Jay Birch says, thanks, Holly. Just another hoop to jump through. Yeah. When I finished my master's degree, I came home, I threw my books down, and I said, I am never, ever, 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 never, ever, ever going back to school again. And I've kept that promise. When I was getting my master's, I had a newborn baby and my wife, and I almost got a divorce. It was so hard finishing. Um, and my final project was a huge I got my master's, my MBA, and it was a comparison of, um, gosh, it was so stupid. Sit down restaurants. And I had to do an analysis of the Outback Steakhouse family. And then I had partners that had to do other ones like um, whatever group owned like Applebee's and whatever had Ruby Tuesdays and the whatever. And then we had to do a comparison between all of it. And man, it took me from getting home from work till the very minute I went to bed for 6 straight weeks. Never saw my wife. My daughter would actually play by my feet as I was sitting by the computer, typing up stuff. I am done. I will never, ever, ever go back to school again. Holly said, that's good. I just collected degrees for some silly reason. Jay Birch had 3 in middle and high school during PhD work. And you know what's crazy for me is my MBA I have not even used it once since I got it. I say that like I've used some of the theories in like just life and like doing this podcast and creating like some structure behind the back end, but like it's never gotten me a promotion. It's never got me any more money in my paycheck. All of that stuff. Man, all it is a piece of paper and a frame. It sits behind actually the flag, the Glassman quote flag in my podcast center. You can't even see it. That's so crazy. ACR, that sounds so sad. Sometimes the hard work isn't worth it. I agree. I really, yeah, I had a change of perspectives. I I wanted to move up and move up and move up in the state of Ohio, like to very high positions politically. And then I had a change of heart that is not what I wanted. I didn't like the prioritization that required. And then the MBA became useless to me after I had changed that perspective. Happiness is more than money and I don't know, power, I guess. And I just learned that being with my family was made me more happy than any of that stuff. And maybe it took going through the MBA and all that stuff for me to realize it. But it was an expensive lesson to learn. I will say that. I will say that. Thanks, Jay Birch. Yeah. And man, I love my life today. So I wouldn't change anything, I guess. I wish I wasn't in the debt I was in from paying for all that school. Um, but yeah, I love where I am today. So glad I got here through any route possible. But anyway, this is the first episode of our lunch with the Clydesdale. We're going to do these every day that I can. I will tell you that I do have some commitments over the next couple weeks, so I'll probably miss a day or two here or there. But we're going to do these every day. Just hang out. If there's any subjects you want to talk about that's going on in the world, going on in sports, going on in whatever, it's just a place for us to hang out and chat about things that are going on. And I can't wait to do this more and more. And I want to get more comfortable that if I have to jump on here by myself, that I can carry the show for whatever length that is to do that. And but so I'm going to take my lunch hours to do that. Thank you so much for being here, guys. You guys are awesome as always. Jay Birch, ACR, Holly, Kenneth, whoever's here, it's still awesome. We will see you guys tomorrow. With that, bye, guys.